So we're going to start in Quebec, Canada. I saw this show last night. There was Artur, Berbetiev, and Thierry Dean on that bill. Two prospects. So here's how their fortunes went. Artur Berbetiev against Tavares Cloud. That was quite interesting. I've seen Berbetiev before on the strength of a recommendation by one of my subs. He pounded on Tavares Cloud. He came out, cut the ring off on Tavares. Tavares was a bit apprehensive coming into the fight. Berbetiev was cutting the ring down pretty well, trying to get his left hook in and his left hand off. Cloud was using a little movement, trying to get more confident, doubling up his jab. Not looking too bad at one stage. And then Berbetiev timed one of Cloud's jabs near the ropes. Came back with a right hand over the top, and that was the first rock in the landslide for Tavares. You know, Berbetiev followed up, used his forearm to block out Tavares' left hook, and came back with his own shots and floored Cloud. Short punches inside, nothing really wide, threw them in clusters. This guy doesn't come to tap dance with you, you know. He comes to throw bombs. And he can be tagged. Can be popped with a jab. But he's very confident in his own abilities and what he can do to you. Keeps a high guard. And Cloud was disorientated by this time and dejected, you know. 2 more knockdowns and the bell saved him. Came out for the second. Berbetiev was looking for the finish. He came forward behind the jab. Cloud just didn't know how to clinch his man at all, even though he was hurt. Tried to punch with him, even though the guy had a longer reach and, you know, wasn't letting him get inside. He needed to try and figure it out, but it was too late by this time. One left hook was good night Vienna, and then 2 right hands came in as an afterthought. And Cloud was out for the night. He was out for the night. So Cloud goes on to be a trial horse, really, you know. I don't think he can retire. I don't think he's financially set to retire, even though he's a former WBC world champion. But that's how it goes. He moves on and transitions into trial horse mode. And they're going to fast track Artur Berbetiev into world class as quick as they can, because he's quite advanced. He had an extensive amateur career, by all accounts. They called him the new Kovalev. He's nearly 30 years of age, so he's not a kid. He doesn't have time to mess about. He's got to get it in, you know. I'm sure you guys will have your opinions too. Thierry Dean, he was on the card too against an opponent named Daniel Ruiz. They were both billed as 5'7", but Ruiz clearly looked bigger. He clearly looked a lot bigger. Good fight, man. Exciting fight. I think Dean underestimated the guy's punching power and maybe the length of his reach, because he kept getting hit by these long looping right hands. And 2 of them hurt him early. 2 of them definitely hurt him, and his legs went, and he was trying to get his feet back underneath him. Ruiz kept throwing looping shots, and he should have worked behind his jab and straightened up his punches, because he looked taller and like he had the longer reach. And he didn't make Dean pay enough, making him miss. He hit him an awfully lot, though. He hit Dean an awful lot, though. There was times where Dean got his boxing back together and kept his left hand up. And he had some good footwork and good shoulder movement and good head movement. But he's just not consistent. You've got to be consistent. You've got to be really consistent. I think it was either in the 3rd or 4th. Ruiz hurt him really badly again with a right hand. But Dean managed to bundle him over to the floor and get himself precious seconds to get himself together. And then there was really good exchanges. There was some really good exchanges between the two. It was a good fight. It was a good fight. And more so because Ruiz was giving his height up. That's all he was good at throwing, is them looping shots. And a lot of them were telegraphed, and Dean was still getting clipped. He's going to have to work on his defense pretty hard. He's very exciting, though. He's very exciting. And Dean found Ruiz's Achilles heel. Whether that's Latin or Greek mythology, that word, I don't know. I didn't finish school, guys. You tell me. He found the Achilles heel. A straight left to the body. And it looks like Ruiz didn't do all his crunches and his sit-ups, and he went down and he was hurt. He got back up, and he still tagged Dean pretty hard. Dean thought he had the fight won, so he was just doing what he wanted to do. Not moving enough, not keeping that left hand up high enough and tight enough around to guard him. And he was getting clipped. He was getting clipped. But by this time, Dean whipped in another body shot. Nice little body shot. Came back with a right. The round went on. And Dean whipped another left hook to the pit of Ruiz's stomach. And he went down. He went down. And looks like the referee just waved it off or counted him out. And it was over. Nice delivered body shot, you know. When you see them body shots delivered, even when Roy Jones threw his one on Friday, you whip them in, you know. You just whip it in. It's a technique that, you know, the boxers work on. Just whip that shot in, because it just draws the breath out of your body when you do that. Because they always say the body doesn't have eyes. It doesn't have eyes. So it must be kind of traumatic when you get hit by them shots, man. Like, if they whip them in really quick and all of a sudden, yo, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Just all of a sudden, you get this sensation, this pain, a debilitating effect to your body where you're almost paralyzed for that second and you just can't do anything. And he finished the fight. He's 27-0, 19 KOs. Only lost to Lamont Peterson in a very exciting fight. Very good fight. You know, I really enjoyed the fight with Peterson. And he's technically not ready to beat a Terence Crawford, but I'd like to see the fight. I'll give him the fight, you know. He's going to give it his all. He'll give it his all. I wouldn't deny him any title shots or anything. You know, he's a pretty good fighter. He's a pretty good fighter. Definitely needs to work on his defense if he's going to take it to the next level. Him and Broner would be a really good fight. Two young prospects. We need to see more of them fights. Two prospects, you know, going at it. Broner and Dean would be a really nice fight. Really nice fight. Everybody would love that. Both a little flawed, both a little green. So, you know, it would be a good matchup. It would be a good matchup for both guys. And if it was a really exciting, close fight, they could do it again. This is what boxing is lacking now. There's no creativity, you know. There's no creativity. You've got to push the prospects a little more, you know, make them build up their own buzz. Instead of trying this, going after this big cash cow or the franchise player in the division, build your own thing where you and another fighter or maybe a couple more fighters in your circle have this rivalry. Build that. Build that. And then them big fights will just be automatically there for you, you know. But nevertheless, an exciting prospect. Looks like they like him in Canada. And we'll see what he can do next. Peace out. Roy Jones fought on Friday in Russia against Hani Atio, I think his name was. A big-looking cruiserweight. Looked a lot bigger than Roy, you know. But he had been KO'd twice beforehand, Hani. And it wasn't at world-class level, so let's keep it in perspective. But nevertheless, Roy looked nice, man. It's good to see Roy. 2 KOs on the bounce. KO'd Courtney Fry from London just the other month. Roy seems to be in Europe more than America fighting these days. It's a shame he didn't do that in his prime, but it is what it is. These are going to be the last few fights we see of Roy, so, you know, even though you guys are screaming for him to retire, it might be one of the last times you can catch him in action. And, you know, he just looked relaxed. He looked relaxed. The guy tried to keep a high guard and come at him. And Roy just picked his shots, you know, just took his time. You know, if you're going to give Roy target, then, you know you're going to pay. You know you're going to pay. And he just sunk them body shots in. He landed 2. He just found the spot where he wanted to land them. And then he went for the finisher. And it was a left hook to the body. My guy went down like he got hit by a tranquilizer gun, you know. And Roy says he wants a cruiserweight belt, a proper belt, not a WBU belt. And whether he can do that or not, I don't know. But, you know, I'm going to ride with him and see what he can do. You know, I mean, like, I've started supporting the guy in the 88 Olympics. So it's been a long journey for me. I can't just say, no, you shouldn't do that. Let him conclude his career on his own terms, you know. And when he does, then I can start ranking him up there with the best of the very best. And recalling his stories. But right now, he's trying to conclude the story. He hasn't quite concluded yet. So, you know, I'm going to let him do that on his own terms. So that's all the fights I saw on the weekend. Obviously, there was Paul Smith versus Artur Abraham, which I thought Smith could have got it. He could have possibly got it. Close fight. You know, if you want to see it, it's probably on YouTube somewhere. Or you can just go listen to my post-fight report. And that's that for the weekend. So I'm going to say peace out. There you go.